Thank you. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I am Dr. Vijay Nair, the chairman of Rishkul schools, and I must thank the Ministry for Finance for having this consultation here at my venue. But I am surprised that the awareness was done very much, but I cannot see any of my school teacher or nearby school teachers present here. So that's a downfall.
They're all very tired.
No, not really that, Minister, because this is the opportune time for them to air their views and give the suggestions. There is no point in later then you talking about then the government did not listen to you, that you wanted to say this, you wanted to say that, and it is not entertained. This is the right forum. Okay, just a couple of issues I have, Minister. First is the road issue. We have been fighting this battle for the last 15 years with the Roads Authority, LTA, and especially the Nasinu Town Council, whereby they have given us the latest thing is they've given us the notice to close the back gate. To close the back gate. This is what happened. Actually, we had opened the back gate because the property at the back where the roundabout is, from there, that is belonging to the Rishkul college itself. So there is no point in asking someone, the authority, to have the consent to drop the children and the teachers. At the moment, the teachers are parking their vehicles there at the back of the school. And it's very convenient for parents to drop off their children and pick the children, especially with the elder girls. It's very safe. It's a very safe environment. But now what they have said that we have to close the gate. So in next 2 weeks time, they've given us, the court has given us time till 8th of May to close the gate. So what will happen now, Minister? When we're going to close the gate, all my teachers will be asked to park on the line, on the driveway. And how will the parents drop the children to the school? Definitely some guys from Nasuri will reach their workplace at 11. You know, that is the biggest problem. I tried to solve the problem by telling LTA and town council, this is the problem that we are facing. Even LTA, they had the consultation here last week. About 9 of them, only 9 people came for the consultation. Myself, I was not present here as well because I wasn't informed that well. My college principal wasn't here. If they had invited us personally, told us that this is the right forum for you guys to come, then we could have come here and voiced our opinion. So now, you tell me, sir, what can we do in this situation that we are placed? But definitely, if it's a court ruling that we're going to close, we'll give the notice to the, my son is a lawyer, he's drafting a letter, which we will give it to Nasinu Town Council, LTA, Fiji Roads Authority, and Police Force, so that, including Ministry of Education and the Permanent Secretary, so that I don't get the blame. Because there is a clause in the Education Act, if I close the school, or meaning closing the back gate, I could be fined $200 or 6 months imprisonment, and I don't want to go, please. Now, that's the situation that I am placed in, no? What can we do in this situation, sir?
Thank you. We don't want you to go to jail, Dr. Nair. But let us have some discussion. We will talk to LTA and Nasinu Town Council. Have you written to any one of them?
So it's a 15 years process. We've been writing to LTA, and in fact, we have done the signatures from the parents as well. And just in November, we have my college principal has sent it to Nasinu Town Council. And the problem is they're not coming back to us, no? We have told them the situation that we are placed in. Yeah, exactly, what happened a couple of years while the previous government was here, and I thank the Honorable Praveen Bala, when he came down and he told the engineers, hey, you guys wasting, even then we were asked to attend the court, then he said, hey, you guys wasting time, and this, you cannot stop there because the property itself that we are crossing belongs to Rishkul. So who do they take the permission from? That's their own property. It's just because 1 or 2 parents they are, public, But like one more thing, legality of it I am looking at. If you are paying the wheel tax for the vehicle, then you can drive anywhere in Fiji. as long as you are paying the tax for the vehicle. Then you can't say that this is a small road, you can't bring it there. This is the biggest problem, no? And we can't bring the bus from the main road. Hardly there is space to turn around, no? That is the most convenient manner that we can drop off students there. And believe me, it's about close to 200 parents are using that back road. Yeah, and we have 1,059 students here, 1,600 in primary and close to 400 in Rishkul, and there are approximately about 3,000 students at Rishkul. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we've taken note of that. We will raise this with LTA and FRE, National Town Council. Thank you.
Good evening, sir. I would like to actually thank you for coming up here because I have been facing so many problems in trying to reach your office and to the PM's office. Just to introduce myself, my name is Arishma and I represent as a president of Sasavira Farm Road, 10 miles. Sir, I would like to say here, for over 15 years, the residents of Sasavira have been facing serious hardships due to the poor state of our farm road. Despite the budget for this road has been allocated twice with the previous government, not a single repair has been done by the previous government since we acquired the land here and began building the houses. Sorry for this. The community had to pull resources together using personal funds, tools and manpower to maintain the road ourselves, just to make it possible. When I say this, I mean the community went out each and every household to collect money and get the road repaired for us to go through or pass by as and when needed. Sir, every rainy season, the road becomes a nightmare, affecting our access to basic services, transport and emergency assistance. Time and time again during election seasons, political parties visit us with promises to fix the road. They take photos, assure us of urgent action, and then disappear once they secure votes. After elections, we are left to face the same dusty or muddy stretch depending on the season. Sir, we have knocked on each every door, including the Ministry of Housing to the Prime Minister's office and various local authorities pleading for help. But up till today, nothing has been done. Recently, I have written to Ministry of Housing again to repair a portion of the road which is about to collapse in any second. I have got the videos and photos and emails which I can forward it to. Sir, we the people of Sasavira are actually tired of empty promises. We demand transparency on the budget allocations, accountability for the lack of action, and most importantly, a concrete plan and timeline for the construction and permanent repair of our road. We are not asking for luxuries, sir, just for the basic infrastructure that every citizen deserves. I hope this can be resolved. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. I've listened to you very carefully. As you said, you know, this is a problem that's been there for many years. And I know Farm Road has a lot of people there, a lot of people. Again, as I said, the demarcation that happened over the last so many years when PWD was taken away, FRA and non-FRA roads. As I was telling you, last night I was in Lombau, Fida Road, and that road was not designated as FRA road. And nobody cared about that road. And I think a similar situation is with the farm road. I don't want to promise you a timeline, but I can promise you that tomorrow I will talk to FRA and housing, and we will take your number and we'll try and get these people to see you and see the area and see what can be done immediately. For example, that portion of the road that you were saying is about to fall apart. So we will take your number and get that organized tomorrow.
Thank you, sir. The urgent action would be really appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I sympathize with you, and I feel sorry that that's the condition in which things are at the moment. But thank you for raising it, and thank you for coming.
Good afternoon, sir. So before I have few issues with here. First of all, just wish to acknowledge for just to hear the concern, the grievances that our communities are facing. So I have a few, before I share some important issues here, sir, I just needed to quote it from what you just attended to the meeting today. It's quoted, these consultations are the hearts of our participation governance. So by saying that, so I have, you mentioned a little bit about TELS program. And we do understand 150.5 million that government invests on the TELS program. But the challenging issues now, we wish to acknowledge the number of graduates for the past years. But the challenging issues that the job opportunity or the job market for our graduates, the new graduate. By saying that we 3 academic universities in the country right now, by saying University of Fiji, Fiji National Universities, as well with the USP. So different programs, what we've seen now, that the 3 universities are like competitions on different programs. But the challenging is our graduate in the job market opportunity. We do understand that some of who goes to the next program, some are graduates who look for job opportunity, which our country needs to relook at our priorities. So, give you an example with the program offered by Fiji National University under the CAP. But unfortunately, this is the only program that offered by Fiji National University in the past years. But the requirements with the job opportunity with FRCS, I do understand in the past years, they only required a degree program. But with the institution, with the academic, they only up to diploma. I do understand this is a new, the structure, the revisions is going through with the Fiji National University right now. But I'm hoping that if government really look at what other 3 academic universities, the institutes have been offered, given to the science program, talking about public health, talking about nutrition, dietitians, physiotherapists. We have a number of graduates, but we have challenges with the job opportunity. There is no clear demarcations or discussions between academic together with the industry who provide a job opportunity to our graduates. The second issues also needed to highlight it, sir. I also represent the organizations who we advocate for people living with diabetes. For the past years, we made submissions to your office, but we've never seen any indications to somewhere to be indicated the support, talking about diabetes or generally NCDs. Some of the issues we raised in terms of introductions of tax on sugar and sweetened beverage, that we think of how we can relate to other developing countries. We do understand that government make the investment, make more revenue from the taxations on the sweetened sugar and beverage product, can be include tobacco and alcohol as well. It's something that can invest back to our dedicated organizations such as us or other NGOs or CSOs who are there, who can do support the Ministry of Health initiative. By saying that, these other options we can consider in terms of making an investment or subsidize the cost. We do understand that most of our NCD, I'm talking about speaking on behalf of our vulnerable communities, who are having financial issues buying the glucometers or the consumables that, for them to make accessible to them. If you have something that we can consider to help them by making subsidize the cost make accessible to our general community. And also, we have a challenge with the Ministry of Health, Health Research Program. It's something that we are thinking of. This money can be directed to help the availability resources that we have in Fiji. But we currently advocate more on modern medication. But we have something that our forefathers usually promote. This is something that if you can consider in terms of research as well in our value.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Two very important critical issues and put very eloquently by you. The first one, you are absolutely correct when you talked about what the universities are offering. And as I said earlier, what happened since 2012 and 13 when they brought this TEL scheme, they said everybody is going to get loan. So you went to the university, you went to FNU, you went to USP, you went to University of Fiji. The floodgate was open. The universities started offering whatever courses they felt was important. And so many students, as I said, about $160 million worth of loan went to students who did not even complete their degree. And those that should have gone into a particular program, those who should have become a good plumber or an engineer or a mechanic or a joiner, tried to do a degree. And when they were not successful, they wasted that money. Plus, if they managed to get a degree, they had to compete with other students in that area. So you're absolutely on the dot. And you gave examples of the program that some of these universities run. So what we did when we stopped that TELS loan scheme, we brought merit-based scholarship and we said, if you want to become a doctor, these are the number of scholarships for doctors, these are the number of scholarships for nurses, dentists, different categories. And if you didn't make it to this one, you can go into this one, or you can go into. So basically what we are now doing is based on our manpower needs of the country, because we made that assessment. We need a lot of technical people. There is hundreds of jobs everywhere in different sectors where we need workers. We need plumbers, we need mechanics, we need electricians, we need joiners, we need good plumbers. And we have to now import that labor from overseas because we were not training the technical colleges that were set up by the previous government. We lost about $30 million, all of them closed. So what we've done since we've come into government in the last 2 years, not only we've rebranded and demarcated the programs that needs to be supported through scholarship, we are supporting technical education. We have given scholarships. So if you go to Pacific Polytech, or you go to FNU, or you go to Montfort Boys Town, or you go to Nandave, or you go to a hospitality school or a caregiver training center, you get scholarships. And students are now going there. And they are being trained to get the jobs that are there. We are getting painters, tile layers from overseas. But there are many students many people who have left, young people who have left school, we are bringing them back. We are bringing them back, we are putting them in the training schools so that they can get the job. So sometimes it's a type of training and skills that we developed, and we've started that very well. It's producing results now, but it'll take about 3 or 4 years once this group that was already there under loans has now gone into scholarship. Once that group is gone, the new scholarships that we've started offering from last year and the first lot out of those scholarships are graduating this year. If they are doing certificate or diploma, if they are doing degree, they will graduate at the end of next year or at the end of this year. And that's when these people are going to find it easy to fit into the labor market. And unfortunately, as you said, there were qualifications. For example, FNU used to run a program and said, you know, you do this and then you get funding. Never happened. You talked about customs. Why do you offer a certificate when you know that the employing agencies require at least a degree? So we are rationalizing that, and hopefully from this year and from next year, students coming out with appropriate qualifications would fit in appropriate jobs. So when you look at, when people say there is unemployment, yes, some people are unemployed because they can't be employed because they don't have the skills. But there are jobs available that we don't have people for. And some of them we have to bring, and so that's why we have put in money in a big way, scholarships, technical education, re-establish some of those. In fact, it was working very well. The technical education in this country from the 70s, 80s, 90s, until it was broken by the Bainimarama Ayaz government completely. You had schools like Rishkul offering, you know, technical education. Students had a pathway. They closed all that. They set up technical colleges, put in $30 million, went down the drain, poorly managed, closed. We came and we are now doing that. And I think it will take another 2 or 3 years that we would be able to do that. So it's you put it very well and you summarized it very well, exactly what has happened, you know, in terms of the labor market. The second point that you make is again very valid. We got the World Bank to do a report on the public health, NCDs and all that. And that report was launched by the Honorable Prime Minister. And what it shows that in the 1970s, 80s and 90s, our health outcomes were better than what has happened in the last 10, 15 years, 20 years. NCDs, incidence of NCDs is very high. Productivity, you know, people who reach 50, their productivity is half. And so we are now involving a lot of NGOs. In the last budget, we provided funding to a lot of NGOs because we feel that you can do a better job in terms of advocacy, in terms of education. And we will talk to you after this, find out, you know, what organization was, but we've given a lot of funding. And let me say this, there is no shortage of funding for our health ministry. There are issues about things getting done on time. There are issues about processes that were put in place. There are issues about infrastructure that was not there. And so in the last 2 years, we have been providing adequate budget and some of the bottlenecks that were there, we are clearing that now, and I am confident that once all this work that is now being done is completed, shortage of medicine, shortage of consumables is going to be a thing of the past. There are challenges with respect to personnel, you know, in technical areas, nurses. We provided additional funding in the last 2 budgets to Sangam Nursing School to produce additional nurses. We created new positions for nursing aides and nursing assistants, which was never there, because we wanted these category of people to also go and help the nurses do the clinical work instead of doing things that can be done by nursing aides and nursing. So a lot of these things have been built in the last 2 budgets. But thank you very much for raising those two very, very critical, important issues, and I appreciate that very much. And we'll talk to you about your organization after this. Naka.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir. My name is Justin Maravo, and I come from the beautiful island of Kantavu. I live in Wainimbuku, and yeah, so there's a lot of things. I'm standing here. Yeah, thank you so much for what you've shared with us this evening. I would like to build on what Madam from Sasawira have already shared. I guess for us it's the road. If you go to Wainimbuku, the road from the Asnayas right up is, quite Tasil, but there's this road, the first right that's next to the cemetery that was, haven't been upgraded for the past few years. Last time was 2 days before the last government's election. So it's been quite long. 2 days before? Yes. I guess you would understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So I share the same sentiment, as a mother, having my child to walk through that road when it's raining, but I'm at work. I'm worried about him going back because he has to cross, there's a bridge there that, is flooded. So I was just thinking, just to put on the table if that road in Wainunu could also be in your agenda. It's like we can make Lovo in our roads. There's a few of us that have cars, and for us, we know, that car is coming just because of the sound our car is making. It's rattling from the road condition. So that's my point. I'm just trying to make that our road condition is not good at all. The second one is maybe on the gray side, looking at the number of unemployment in the area, but also the number of criminal activity that's happening in our area, especially in the Wainimbuku Nakasi area. Yeah, just a suggestion on looking at, but also every weekend I hear young people no longer have respect for other churches, for other people around. The music is loud. Just in terms of maybe looking at programs for these young people as you look at unemployment, as you try to address that. Yeah, and on the same note, I'm thinking of looking at strengthening corporate responsibilities, those businesses that are around the area that could help in our development as well. I guess that's just something that I wanted to share this evening, Vinaka.
Thank you. I like how you describe the situation in Wainimbuku. There are hotspots that the police, people who are dealing with drug abuse, and in fact, drug abuse is one of the big causes of some of the things that you talked about. Crime, basically, lack of respect that you talked about, by people who use this, and it's one of the serious problems that we inherited as a government. And for the first time last year, we launched the Narcotics Bureau. You can see more people are being arrested now. More drug busts are happening now. These drug problems, is a result of years of deliberate neglect on the part of the authorities at that time. So I can sympathize with those kind of social problems linked to crime, drugs linked to crime, and I think the police is doing a lot of good work now. They may not get into every area yet, but I think the new Commissioner of Police, the new Minister for Policing, who is now got a single ministerial responsibility to address some of these, and we can already see improvements in a lot of areas. On the issue of the road, thank you for raising that. We've made that, as I said, there are a lot of areas in Suba, Nasori area, right up to Nabua. A lot of roads are being fixed by FRA now. We are not making a demarcation anymore about FRA and non-FRA roads, and that's going to allow us to fix those roads as quickly as possible. But thank you for raising those issues. And as I said, Kandavu was beautiful. It's a stunning place. It has a lot of potential. The civil servants are doing a great job. We found out that they didn't have vehicles when we went there. In 1 week, in 2 weeks, we sent additional 5 vehicles to Kandavu in different ministries. We recognize the number of things that needs to be done there. And as I gave you an example of the hospital, Vunesea Hospital, I was falling apart. Nothing was done for years. That's being fixed now by the Australian government, and we hope to have it renovated, done by the end of this year. So thank you.
The Minister and your team, thank you for giving me the opportunity to just say a few words. I know this is a budget consultation, but I will be talking about something which probably goes beyond budget. Just before I listened to you about schools, and you were saying that almost all the schools are overcrowded, the classes are overflowing with pupils. So we have to look at the problem, why this is happening. And we have to get to the root cause and find solutions rather than trying to do a band-aid job. With that, I mean, the problem is our city and town planning. A lot of people, including housing authority, they go about subdividing land. All they look at is providing more housing. And in other countries, you find that they have a master plan. When they do subdivision, they allow for parks, they allow for schools, they allow for other social services. So I think we have to start looking at that. Whenever there is application for subdivision or development, land should be earmarked, and schools are very important. So we don't want children, to travel many, many miles to come to school. So if you also look at how many new schools have been built over the last 5 or 10 years and compare it with how many subdivisions have taken place where people have built their houses. So the two may not tally. And this is what I think we need to think about. Ministry of Finance cannot fix that, but the government can. And so perhaps you can talk to the right ministries and come with some kind of a master plan for subdivisions. And also in subdivisions you find many scrupulous business people who just get land, subdivide, sell, want to make short-term money, not worrying about the consequences which may come later on. So that's one. The other thing I wanted to talk about concerns your ministry. I got a new mic, so I hope it works better. Building, housing costs, repairs to housing, we find that the building material, many building materials, government is imposing 32% duty on building materials. I don't understand the logic, and when there is a high duty on any product, the local manufacturer, they bump up the price, because if that item was imported, the importer will have to pay 32% duty, so the local manufacturer makes excessive profit by that. And the other thing about local manufactured products, nails, barbed wire, fencing wire used in farms, those products are not of good quality, because the local manufacturer imports very cheap quality wires so that they can make more profit. So my suggestion would be to give competition to them. The government should reduce duty on all these items and building materials from current 32% to 5%. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Nirmal. We had some good discussion today with car dealers and LTA, and so I'll leave that. I think your point about subdivision and master plan, I think they do that to extent. So, for example, if you're doing a development on your land, you got to leave some portion blocks for parks, they call it reserve. So there is an element of subdivision requirement where they require you to have, but I don't think they do that for schools in every subdivision. But if it's entirely new, big, they probably will. I think what the root cause of the problem partly is because nobody bothered about the number of people who kept coming in into the urban areas, and it's not about the space, it's not about the distance. So, for example, a school in Nasori, in Budi or Waituri, or that school, its capacity, its renovation, its facilities has remained the same for 20 years. Population has increased, but that school, that facility, that area has space to build more classrooms, improve facilities, better wash facilities, technical areas. Most schools, right from Nabua in the central division right up to Tailevu, where the population seems to have gone up, has the facilities. And government said to school communities, 99% of the schools are run by community organizations. Government is to provide remission of fees, fee-free, grants, etc. even before. The previous government came, they said, no fundraising, parents don't have to worry about anything. Management has nothing to do with the school. The principals and the head teachers will run it. They ignored the management. They stopped management from even raising funds getting the community to be involved and not providing enough funding to do the renovation and to build new facilities. So in 15, 16 years, nothing happened in the school. And the grant was not enough from the, Dr. Nair will tell you, the grant per capita grant is not enough to even for some schools the operational thing. So we are trying to, we've removed all the restrictions. We are saying to management, you control the school, you can raise funds, you can do improvements, and we are getting some donor support. And for schools in Suba, we will be providing additional funding depending on the number of schools that have been identified as really urgent ones. We will be allocating funding in the next budget to help those schools to improve the facilities and build new ones. But very important point that you raised, Nirmal. Thank you. Please do.
In New Zealand, they have a scheme called Future Skills. And under that scheme, it's a government scheme. It's after hours school for adults. People can be as old as 60, 70, 50, 40, 30, whoever. So the school starts after hours, and Future Skills, they train them in carpentry, building. You get a degree or a qualification in building. You can do plumbing, and so many other courses are offered. And I think that's a very good scheme. When during COVID time, when I couldn't come back to Fiji, I participated, and I went to these Future Skills, and I learned carpentry. And I must say I'm a half a carpenter now.
I think that's an important, I mean, I say this very clearly, the speed at which the technological revolution, the AI revolution is taking place, the breadth, the scope, the speed is unimaginable. Never happened in the history of technological revolutions in the last 2 centuries. So AI, computer technology, may replace certain types of jobs. The skills that you learn today, the degree that you have today may be irrelevant to the kind of work that you want to do if you want to stick in the same area. So yes, I think future skills, which, I mean, for you, carpentry is future skill because you like to do something there. But for a lot of young people, I think it is important for us to look at, and a lot of countries are way ahead with AI, bringing those in the curriculum. And I hope that the Education Commission that we have appointed, when they look at what has happened in the education system over the last 10, 15 years, and we are hoping that as a result of the report, as a result of the reforms that we are talking about, that some of these would be incorporated in the curriculum right from primary school, so that not only the current skills, but as you said, the future skills and adult skills. I think that's a good suggestion, and that's something that we should look at. And if the model that New Zealand uses is relevant, we should consider that. Thank you for raising that. I think that's a very important. I was not aware of that. I know they have adult education programs, but that's a good name, future skills. Yeah, like the Matua program. Yeah. Maybe Dr. Nair, you should run a Matua program as part of the school activity. Okay, we got one more here. Go ahead.
Sorry, sir, just on a personal level, I just wanted to highlight about all the fraud cases that is happening in Fiji, particularly fraud cases. When I mean fraud cases, I actually mean people who are coming in to do their job as per the standards or the laws of of Fiji. However, they do not adhere to the standard of the construction industry, basically, the construction industry, and we have to end up with the FCCC, right? Just a recent incident I had, I lost my house in a fire 2022, whereby everything completely was destroyed, and I hired a contractor to do job for my house. And just because it was to deal with the washroom and stuff, and we did not have any place to go, so we had to hire him in the absence of us. Now what he did, he put up the bricks, but he did not put the cavity or the road in there. And when I came in, then I had to dismiss him with all the contracts that we had agreed on. However, at between that period of time, I had paid about $10,000 to him. Now, what happened, I had to end up to FCCC to lodge a complaint. When I went to FCCC, after so much of running around and the follow-ups, I'm being told we can't do anything because it's a one-to-one. I have got the email to prove my statement, and now I'm being set back to do nothing about it, and while he is enjoying. So my point here is, as it's for the budget allocation, if there can be an association who can deal with this kind of people as a one-to-one, because I feel FCCC has not done their part, which they should have done, as I have got all the invoices and everything relevant. And he's enjoying, and maybe it's going to be a more fund can be raised for that association so that the fraud cases can go down. Thank you.
FCCC people are here.
Sir.
Okay. Sorry, I thought
Thank you, madam, for raising this. That's definitely something that I can look into, and perhaps I'll see you after this. And yeah, and I think it serves the purpose why we're here. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Definitely, sir.
I'll tell you a secret, in case you might feel a little bit better. I was similarly conned by one contractor. So I can completely relate to what you were saying. And I think it's an important point that FCCC should look at. We need to look at some mechanisms, standards, or a process whereby, private contractors, hired by people, do this kind of con job and perpetrate a fraud on innocent people like Mrs. here is wrong. So maybe this is a good test case for FCCC, and then see how we can also educate our people when they hire contractors, what sort of agreements they need to have, safeguards that they need to build, through a third party, so that these things don't happen. And most of the time, innocent people do get conned by this kind of unscrupulous people. So I'm sorry to hear that, but please work with Arishma to see how we can help her. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Okay, we have.
Good evening, all. Say thank you very much for coming to Nasinu. As we know that Nasinu is the most densely populated municipality in Fiji. I wish to introduce myself. My name is Randir. I'm a retired assistant superintendent of police. I got retired after serving the Fiji police for 34 years, and at the end of 2022. Currently, I'm the district advisory councillor and also the chair for the district advisory councillors overlooking the law and judiciary, and the chair for the
Nasinu District Council for Older Persons, which is affiliated with the National Council for Older Persons and the Ministry for Social Welfare. My question here is that it's not really a question, but how well we can improve the living standards of our vulnerable group that is living in the informal settlements. That is the vulnerable group, the people living with the disabilities and our senior citizens. Nasinu has approximately 51 informal settlements, and I've been visiting them, and I've seen the residents in that area in the informal settlements. They have been facing difficulties. They don't have access roads, access footpaths, and they have been finding difficulties to meet the government services. Just this afternoon, I received a call from Monikoso. There was a lady to be lifted, and the social worker from Monikoso called me if we can get some manpower from the National Fire Authority, and then I had to arrange that. And also, not forgetting that we in Nasinu we also have a Valelevu nursing home. I was giving speech in one of the events, and people don't know where is Valelevu nursing home. Valelevu nursing home is just down at the Salala Street roundabout, housing almost 26 vulnerable residents. Some are bedridden, some can walk, some are on wheelchair, but facilities, how well we can improve the facilities of this vulnerable group. Thank you, sir.
In fact, thank you for raising that. This morning, my first meeting was with the Minister for Women, Children and Social Protection. In the first budget, we actually provided additional funding, first for the formalization of informal settlements, but we also recognized, I said, because people have been staying in this area for very, very long time. So I said, until such time that we can develop proper roads, water supply, etc., we should provide additional funding, and we allocated funding to build footpaths, to build pathways, so that people have access to better facilities. In terms of directly supporting, there is we increased all the social welfare allowances in the last budget, the first budget. Disability allowance, family allowance, child protection allowance, allowance for persons with disability. We allocated 17.7 million in the 2024-2025 budget. And the other allocations, so child protection was 17.5, allowance for persons with disability, 17.7 million. Transport assistance, that's another scheme that's been beefed up. Family assistance scheme. So all the social welfare allowance was increased in the 2023-2024 budget and maintained in the 2024-2025 budget. One of the things that we discussed this morning in relation to the next budget was precisely what you are talking about. The number of people needing aged care. The minister was telling me that there is a lot of neglect also happening. There are cases of children who have migrated, left the parents on their own, who need assistance, who need support. So we are discussing how we can address some of these problems, and building of aged care homes where they can get better protection, better support, apart from the allocations that we have in the budget. So in the next budget, we are going to further look at how we can improve the quality of life of people of these vulnerable groups. But thank you for raising that, and it's something that the government has, since we came in, we recognized. We looked at the data, we looked at the vulnerabilities of some of these groups, and we have provided additional funding for that, and in the next budget there will be further announcements. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, the gentleman sitting in the front line there, he had, here, facing you, he had inquired about the grants. So I would like to add to it, like we have 6 allocation of grants from Education Ministry, whereby 30% is allocated to building and administration, which is probably too less. There has to be, probably you can tell the ministry to relook at the reallocation of the grants, whereby in computers and all that they say 10%, but building and administration 30% is too less. Compared, like what actually happens, there's a difference between non-government and government school. Government schools, 30% itself is allocated in the administration, and the separate ancillary staff salary is not taken out from that. So it's an upper hand for them.
I can tell you we are looking at how we can further support the ancillary staff. There's been issues raised about their salaries, their wages, and that is something that we will consider in the next budget.
Okay, thank you very much. And the other point there is like what we can request ministry from, we can have additional budget there, grant for the schools, like higher school principals or the head of schools. They're not to be released to do investigation in other schools, their own colleagues, So that is what the schools are affected. Like our school XYZ, head teacher is pulled out from there to go and investigate in Navua. Then what is going to happen? What is happening with XYZ school? The position is vacant there for a couple of days, So request, like what we can do is a request for the roving principals and roving head teachers, whereby we can, 3 can look after from Tailevu to Navua, from Singatoka to Nandi and there, and the 4th one in Banua Levu.
Sure.
I think that is going to be a very good support unit for teachers to excel. And then only we can have this prosperous and sustainable Fiji that we have in our vision there.
We'll have that discussion when we invite the Ministry of Education for the budget consultation.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. One more?
Sorry, sir. This is a follow-up the issues for Matua program. We have a friend of mine who had certain issues if they can be raised to you, sir. The Matua program, you do understand, was established back in 2023, and over the past 2 decades, the program has supported hundreds of adult learners in a successfully completion, and we do understand. 2003. So over past 2 decades, the program has supported hundreds of adult learners in successfully completing their secondary education and enabling them to pursue further studies to the tertiary level. So despite the success, the Matua program faces several challenges. One, limited availability. So it means currently we do understand that during the budget announcement that the ministry offered, the government provided to the ministry around $778 million. But by saying that even the minister raises about the allocation, part of the allocation will be distributed to the Matua program. As for today, the limited availability, currently only Nambua Secondary School is the sole institution offering the Matua program, restricting the access for individuals in other regions, other divisions, like West, Eastern, and Northern divisions. The second issue is in terms of financial constraint. So there is adequate funding essential to sustain and expand the program, ensuring to meets the diverse needs of the students. Thirdly, there is no clear demarcation or policy limitations. There is no repeater policy in Fiji education system, has contributed to the higher dropout rates, increased the demand of alternative education pathway like the Matua program.
Thank you. Thank you for raising that. As I said, there is a lot of discussion happening with the repeat policy, been views expressed, and I think the Education Commission that should have been appointed many years ago to look at you see what happened since 2006, a lot of changes have happened. Haphazard changes in the education system, policies, management. Nobody knows what kind of impact that has had over the years, because the previous government just refused to have any inquiry, any review on anything. It is this government that has come in, we've reviewed our health services, we've got independent people to tell us what's happening in the education system, in the schools, and we're using those reports and data. For example, the school. If we had not asked the Australian government to do an audit of schools in the Central Division, nobody in the Ministry of Education had any good idea about what was happening in the classroom. The teachers were afraid, the principals were afraid, the management were afraid to talk anything about those issues to the previous government. We have now got a process, a system, and similarly, when the Education Commission comes out with the report, looks at these various issues, we should be able to inform ourselves, make better policies so that we are dealing with it. And that's what we've done in health, that's what we're doing in education. We've got the Australian government to actually look at what has happened in the CWM. And if you read the first sentence of that report, it says years of neglect. Years of neglect has led to what the CWM hospital is about. First sentence. And that's from the Australian government. The media doesn't seem to pick that, or they missed the first sentence in the report. But that's the point I'm making. And you are absolutely right. Since 2003, have we reviewed it? Have we looked at how we can improve it? No, we haven't. But we are going to do that as part of the Education Commission work, and that commission is going to look at every sector of the education system, right from preschool to high school. And the back to school support that we provided, when we came in, that was the first thing we did. That's the initiative of the coalition government. And that is a direct way of supporting the children, the parents. So if you have 4 children, you get $800 just before the school opens. If you have 3, you get 600. If you have 2, you get 400. If you have 1, you get 200. And that's from preschool right up to Form 7. And we see that it's helping a lot of parents. Parents don't have to worry about this at the beginning of the school, and students end up in the school with new bags, new sandals, new lunch containers, stationery. And we didn't wait for the election, 2 days before the election, to fix roads. We started immediately as soon as we came into government. We were not worried about, and we did that in 23, 24, 25, and we will do that next year. So it's not about the election. And it's important for us to also look back sometimes what happened in the education system. But good news is that we've done a lot of reforms already, scholarships, labor market, helping parents directly, getting the management to do things on their own, and the Education Commission will wrap all that up and provide us with a good policy stance, and hopefully in the next budget after this one we will incorporate some of those findings. Okay, I think since we have had enough discussion, but let me just say big thank you, Dhanyawad, Naka Vakalevu, for coming. As I said, this is, we are not doing too many community consultations. We are inviting different groups, representing different sectors of the economy, but we wanted to have this one here, and thank you all for coming. It's important that we hear a selection of views on different issues, and I think we did that very well today. Naka Vakalevu, thank you. And you can send your written submissions. It's still open until end of April. So if you remember something that you couldn't raise today and you want us to consider, please send in your written submission. Naka. Media, thank you very much for being here.